My name is Rory Houlihan. I ran for U.S. Senate last spring, 2016, to stop the ticking time bomb so I could put our economy on track for a bright new day instead of all things ending. Well, I lost the election and am not running, but the ticking time bombs are still here, if not more so. So let me educate you on the ticking time bombs and give you the rest of the story. Part 16b. Head of the stream that clears the water. I always love cats. They seem to always have a knack to know when to interrupt and be obnoxious. Let me start. I count myself as extremely blessed. Looking back at my childhood, I see that I'm wise, not because I am wise, but because I listen to the wise. I'm smart not because I'm smart, but because I listen to the smart. I have truly had an extraordinary life. Not easy, but extraordinary, as you will soon hear. As a child, I learned to read at the age of 2. I still remember the moment this happened. My mom was reading Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, putting her finger under the words as she read them. Suddenly, everything was clear. I started to read by myself. I was a curious boy and would take apart everything, which got me into a lot of trouble more than a few times. I love football. Packers are the best. Basketball, of course, is now UK. Soccer, Manchester United and the Rowdies. And track. I had a track in front of me for a number of years. I was always busy, except for one summer when I was 10. I was playing football with a friend out in front of his house when I was tackled scraping my ankle on a sidewalk. The sidewalk was full of black and green and red growth, and a week later I went to Doc Gans with a high fever. I had blood poisoning, and I couldn't move. Moving would spread the poison. There was no silver bullet or golden pill. The treatment was to lay still and soak the wound. How do you keep a 10-year-old boy who loves to play sports still all summer long? Well, you have him read, read, and read. The next day, a man came over with the World Book encyclopedias and Childcraft and yearbooks. My dad bought them all. Soon I had read them all and wanted something else to read. To this day, I read books on a wide variety of subjects because my reading the encyclopedias. I like books with pictures in them. After I was 10, science had the most books and the most pictures. So, science books was what I wanted. I grabbed My dad grabbed books from our public library. Soon I had read all of those science books there. There wasn't many. But we had a college in town, Carroll, and my dad soon was bringing home books from there. He brought home a biology book, and I asked him about a picture of a woman's anatomy, and soon only physics and chemistry books were brought to me. I complained I didn't understand these books. My dad said, "Just read those books. Someday you will." Actually, he was right. Just like in my first book, all of a sudden I understood them. After that summer, I went back to my normal grade. I was the smart kid who never studied and daydreamed most of my classes away. Both my dad and my grandfather would bring me to because I could be handed a book or some paper and sit quietly reading or drawing, usually rockets or planes. 1960s. A little note. I guess I was about 12 when a power company was going to build a nuclear power plant nearby. I was at the Knights of Columbus breakfast with my dad. There was an engineer from the power company. He was going over the plans when I spotted a fatal flaw, actually, in the design. I stood up and raised my hand, and he called on me. What harm can a little kid do? So he chose me. I pointed out the design flaw and waited for an answer. The engineer's face changed. At first, he was glad that a little kid was asking the first question, then worried, as he did his best to dance around the problem. He didn't answer my question, and I had seen another problem. So I started to ask again. When my dad, well, I felt the tug of my dad's hand pulling me down into the seat. It's time for an adult to ask the questions. A look of relief came over the engineer's face when I was pulled down and shushed. Later on, these flaws would come to cause a meltdown in a little-known Japanese power plant, Fukushima. But that is another story and another ticking time bomb. Because of me being the quiet when I needed to be and being smart, I got to listen to some pretty good conversations as a kid. To this day, I still love to eavesdrop. One of my bad habits. Do you know that one year Bill Proxmire spent just $129 for his entire campaign? 1 year! One far cry from today's multi-billion, million-dollar campaigns. Do you honestly believe term limits would promote a more honest politician or just promote revolving door corruption with one after another bought and paid for being elected? I've had the great pleasure to listen to candid conversations from honest men. A system, a game that promotes corruption will stay corrupt no matter how short the period served. But a system that promotes the honest moderate will stay honest and moderate no matter how long the tenure. Just like all jobs, representatives become more and more qualified as they serve longer and longer. My goal is to have the champions of a clean government and the people like Bill Proxmire and George Norris serve our country. Their good deeds will set them free, as it did for Bill Proxmire. $129. Who do you think can represent us hardworking folks better? A senator who only needed to spend $129 to get reelected because of his good work? Or one who needed to collect millions of dollars? Why, money speech speaks louder today than our free speech. The question is, in each and every election, is if you want an efficient and effective small government, should you not hire a moderate Bill Proxmire or a conservative Mitch McConnell, who puts in more and more inefficient, ineffective government policies that steal from you? Large donations are investments, folks. Where else can you spend $25,000 and get back $25 million but through today's government? That is 1,000% average return on these candidate investments. Nowhere else. I count myself blessed that I got to hear from the best anti-graft senator, and I plan on using that knowledge to clean up our government so that today's government can run efficiently and effectively. If you want to know how Bill Proxmire kept our government clean, well, you need to read his books. Then you need to listen to the rest of the story. Part 16C, Head of the Stream, the clear as the water. You have a good and blessed day. Bye.